Are people finally starting to ask questions about these scientists that keep going missing and other things that keep happening and have been happening concerning the anti-gravity, concerning UFOs, UAPs? It's getting higher and higher up the ladder. They asked the president about it recently. Asked this. So there's so much that happened. This topic is starting to actually get some oomph behind it, if you will. And there was this story, the Amy Eskridge, I believe the woman's name was, who that story's been out there for quite a long time, but now is actually catching fire with the mass media, because the more research comes from some of these other scientists that have gone missing. So the first thing I want to start with is Burleson. And Burleson was asked about the scientists and other things. So let's look at what he said, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Check it out.
When you look at these 11 scientists, there's some outliers, certainly, but each one has a very mysterious and unique case. I think Amy Eskridge, her case is somewhat of an outlier, but it's worth investigating. I mean, we had Michael Schellenberger come to our hearing back in 2024, and in his testimony, he provided information from a researcher, Frank Milburn, who was a retired UK intelligence official, who Amy had reached out to and asked to investigate some of the harassment, some of the weird things that were happening with her. And he determined that she was the victim of a directed energy weapon and that she was likely murdered by a U.S. aerospace company.
Again, so Amy Eskridge, we had talked about her not too long. Well, it might have been a year ago. I don't remember, but the story's been going on for quite a while about the anti-gravity and the videos that she had shown and the stuff she said about Lou Elizondo and other things that she had talked about. And basically saying that I'm not going to off myself. You know, there's people who are coming after me, and now it's coming out more and more that her name has been thrown out there more and more and more. As you hear Burleson talk about it, and he even said that, you know, the stuff that was Schellenberger and the stuff that he had reported, and how believes very much so that it was an aerospace company for the information and the stuff that she had worked on, the stuff that she knew about, that she was silenced. So there's more to it as they kept diving more and more into her story. So check this out. This one's from Fox News.
The more we dig into this story, the more we find. After urging from the White House, the FBI and other agencies are looking into the deaths or disappearances of these 11 U.S. scientists. One of them is Alabama-based scientist Amy Eskridge. She was openly studying anti-gravity technology when she died in 2022. Her death was deemed a suicide by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but she warned friends ahead of time that her life could be in danger. She spoke daily with Frank Milburn, a former British intelligence officer, about the threats she was getting, and he believes she was murdered for her work.
I don't believe that she killed herself. I just can't, because I spoke to her 4 hours before and she told me time and time again, I'm not going to commit suicide. I am not going to have an accident. If there's something suspicious about my death, it's because it is.
Milburn shared this text message he received from Eskridge May 13th, less than a month before her death. It says, OBTW, if you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I overdosed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I killed anyone else, I most definitely did not.
Like, that's crazy on so many different levels, right? Now, again, this is not a new story if you've been paying attention to it, but it's finally getting more information. And it goes back to what we've talked about so many different times on this show and other places too, is that the more the mass media starts to pick it up, the bigger story it becomes. It's just how it works. And I'm glad that it finally is, because she was working on this anti-gravity stuff. She was paying attention to the UFO stuff. She knew information. She knew other things. And look at all the other scientists that are missing. That's just a coincidence? I mean, come on. This is the time when, you know, when enough people are paying attention to this and you go, wait a minute, 11 people are either missing or off themselves or overdosed or these things. Coinky dink. No, I think not. I think it all lines up that something stinks. And they're finally starting to ask these questions, report on this, see what's going down. And this is one of those things that we've talked about many times when it comes to disclosure. One of the things that holds back so much with the idea that it would ever come or willingly come, because of stuff like this also. Because let's say disclosure comes, they find out certain information, things that we had, and information is revealed that Amy worked on stuff of some of the stuff that they report on, other things that play in, and is discovered that they were taken out because of the knowledge that they had and the things that they said. Then people are going to jail, or should go to jail, and companies are going to be held accountable, and dollars will be lost, and some companies might be shut down, and other things might be put into disarray. And that's what holds back some of this stuff, because this is some sinister shit. So they did ask the president about this as well, about what's going on, and this is what he said.
11 scientists missing, killed, or found dead over a span of less than 4 years, now getting attention from the President of the United States.
I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half.
And the top investigative committee in the House of Representatives.
There's a high possibility that something sinister is taking place here.
Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer sending letters Monday to the Pentagon, FBI, NASA, and Department of Energy asking to be briefed on any information they have, saying, if the reports are accurate, these deaths and disappearances may represent a grave threat to U.S. national security and to U.S. personnel with access to scientific secrets. The first case was June 2022 in Huntsville, Alabama, when 34-year-old scientist Amy Eskridge, known for unconventional research on anti-gravity, was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The most recent case, 45-year-old Novartis scientist Jason Thomas, whose body was recently found in a Massachusetts lake on March 17th, 3 months after he went missing.
Some of them were very important people.
4 of them had worked for NASA, 3 in the Jet Propulsion Lab specifically, and 2 who are missing were either current or former staff at Los Alamos National Laboratory, known for its work on nuclear weapons. Oversight Committee member Eric Burleson says the most suspicious cases to him are the 5 who seem to have just up and left their homes.
Anthony Chavez in May walked out of his home. He was working for he was retired from Los Alamos and had some of our nation's top security secrets.
7 weeks later,
Melissa Cassius, who worked with Anthony Chavez, also at Los Alamos, she mysteriously walked out of her home. In August, just about a couple of months later, you have Stephen Garcia, who was working on on some of our nuclear weapons programs, who walked out of his home.
2 of these cases garnering less suspicion than the others. Carl Grillmair was killed by an alleged carjacker, and Nuno Loureiro was killed by the suspected Brown University shooter. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
I don't think there's anything random about that. I mean, even the last 2, I'm honestly, the shooter, that's maybe just horrible place at the horrible time. But the carjacker could have been hired. This is gaining attention. This should be a major story. This should be one of the stories, whatever it might be. Whether it's stuff that's actually tied into UFOs, UAPs, anti-gravity, whatever it might be. How is this not a major story that is everywhere? It's starting to be. 12 scientists missing, dead, all these things, and then there's texts from this one woman saying, hey, if any of these reports come out, this was like 4 days beforehand, or day of, I can't remember what I said, but either way, it's like in enough time to say, hey, she knew this was coming. Why would she do that at this point? I don't know how this isn't like one of the biggest stories, and now it's starting to be, obviously, because they're asking him about it, the president about. They're asking all these other people. Burleson seems to be taking it full steam ahead. So what comes of it, I don't know. But it's as I mentioned earlier, it really comes down to what is going to be leaked and what they want out there, right? Because anything can be blocked. I mean, hell, man, look at the Epstein stuff. I mean, it's outrageous that people are not investigating that more so with all the names and everything else that's involved. It's outrageous. So clearly somebody doesn't want that to come out. Obviously this too, if there is money to be lost and jobs to be had and jail time to be had, the truth of this will not come out. And because of it, now the thing was, again, the Epstein story was a major, major story. And I do say it was. Because, yes, it is a major, major topic. But it is not the top story anymore. Iran is. That was also, I believe, calculated too. They many times have said, the public should just move on from this. And this is furthering my point. If the mass media is not covering something to exhaustion, it goes out of the public perception. It's gone. And it's there. They're aware of it. But the biggest news story for that topic, the Epstein thing, was Melania Trump coming out and talking about it and brought it back in. Now it's back to Iran and the ports and everything else. And that's what we're talking about now. This should be a topic that everyone is talking about because it's a question that's being asked currently. It's an investigation that's happening. If you have people like Burleson and other people who are asking questions, you got to get the media to cover this stuff. You got to get more people to talk about it. It is so bizarre on how many of these scientists are missing or have gone dead. I mean, come on. So how it relays into the technology, UAPs, all that, we may know, we may never know. What say you? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. What are you thinking about this topic? What do you think it's all about? Do you think that it's just random? Or do you think something stinks? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Please subscribe, click like, comment, do all that and more. Thanks for being here. See you on the flip side.